Coming to you from 8122 Production Studios in the heart of the 607, this is Horror Zone 607. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And remember, you can always join the conversation using hashtag HZ607. Welcome to Horror Zone 607, the podcast where we talk all things horror and bring you the week's biggest horror movie news. I'm your host, Mike C., and with me are a couple of my favorite people in the world. Yes, a couple of them. First, he's once, twice, 3 times a lady. He's my co-host, Rich.
Well, hopefully you don't kill Lionel Richie like you killed Eddie Money.
I feel terrible about that. It's usually Luke's job. There's an inside joke there. Every time Luke talks about anything, somebody dies.
Well, that's what Derek does on Three Fat Nerds.
Yeah, this is my first experience.
This is you.
Poor Eddie Money. Rest in peace.
I was going to say, you brought up Eddie Money last week, and he's no longer with us. I mean, to be
fair,
I
love Lionel Richie. So
to be fair, he was in bad health to begin with. I don't think Lionel Richie is, but
well,
we'll
his
find
career
out.
maybe. But.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we'll find out though about a week or next week if I'm like, oh, Lionel Richie passed away, completely on you.
The curse has moved from Diesel to Mike C.
But it's the same seat. In the studio, they sit in the same seat. So,
well, this show is dedicated to our dear friend Eddie Money.
Yes, and by the way, just so we know it's the same seat, we have a nice picture of Derek in a yellow hard hat behind Mike, just to remind us of when the Three Fat Nerds are in the studio.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that seat is just cursed. Sorry, Mike.
It's all right. Maybe I'll just move over across the way next week.
Hopefully he got his 2 tickets to paradise.
I hope that he did. I sure hope so.
And hopefully he had time to pack his bags.
Right.
Because he left that night.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Too soon.
And that's our show, everybody. Good night.
And once again, I would like to say we said it on the Three Fat Nerds podcast. I got to say, I was a big Eddie Money fan. He had some classic music when I was growing up, and so I think he will be missed for sure. And condolences to his friends, family, and fans, of course.
Right.
To the late legendary Eddie Money. But in this case, once again, he did have a terminal cancer.
Right.
So I'm part of me is relieved because he probably is in a better place.
Right.
So that's what we can hold on to.
Yes. Well, this show is dedicated to his life.
Yeah, why not?
And, his family and friends.
I'm a fan of that.
Sure. Also in the studio with us for the first time in 7.5 years, he is the former and future owner of 8122 Production Studios. He's our good friend Ron.
What's happening?
Welcome back, buddy.
I finally made it back.
I know.
It was just Wednesdays weren't good.
Yeah, well,
this is still coming out on Wednesdays. It's not Wednesday nights. It'll be out Wednesday mornings.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're recording on Tuesday nights now, and I'll have it up Wednesday mornings because I feel like it gives me something to do.
Right, and you get one extra day to listen to us now.
Yeah, I get to do a little more editing.
Yes.
But we changed because, as you know, one of the shows that I also host is Three Fat Nerds Wrestling, 3FNW, which you can find anywhere podcasts are found by just searching Three Fat Nerds. And because of the wrestling show, Wednesdays are becoming really big starting tomorrow because NXT has moved to USA. And, of course, October 2nd, the Wednesday Night Wars officially begin as AEW's on TNT.
Yeah.
So it's big for wrestling fans, and because we have to do our due diligence for that show, we put it out here. But the nice part is I don't feel bad about it. It gives me more time to edit. It'll be out Wednesday morning. It means you guys get to hear it sooner. And usually horror news happens either at the end of the week anyways or the beginning of the week.
Right.
So now it just gives us, because usually we record on a Wednesday and then something happens on Thursday or Friday.
Right.
And then, so now at least we can cover all of that on a Tuesday. You hear it Wednesday morning, and then we have till next week. So it's cool stuff.
All right.
Cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's good. It's good. It's a good change.
Yes.
It's new and improved. All right, well, we'll jump into the news for the week here. We got a few things we definitely want to talk about this week. The first thing I want to cover, we'll go right to the box office news this week. It Chapter 2, plugging right along, still doing really well. We are now up to $323 million worldwide.
Not surprised. Not surprised.
No.
Good movie. Great ending to the story, if you will, as far as this part of the story. Whether they come back to do a prequel or not, like we talked about last week, is unbeknownst. But it was a very good movie. I think it'll sit on top one more week at number one.
Yeah.
Because the only thing coming out this week that could dethrone it, well, there's two movies, but I think the only one that could dethrone it, possibly, and I don't think it will, is Rambo: Last Blood. Also rated R.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little hard. I do think that Rambo will take some of the money because the same audience is going to see Rambo, but it is a great movie. I won't be. It'll definitely probably make over 400 million worldwide when it's all said and done before this.
Yeah, they're predicting 500 to 700 million. So we'll see. Now you and I got to see it opening weekend. Ron, you just saw it second weekend, right? Yeah. How was the audience? Was it packed? I know you said something about how there was.
It was a small theater. It wasn't packed.
They had already.
There was some people. There was people there. There was like two groups behind me, or two sets of couples behind me. Then there was a group to my left, and then there was like a couple in front of me. And then like a big group in the first row, the bottom section. Not like the first row seat, but like the first when you walk down. Right. It was that small.
Now, the next question I have for you, and I think this is what all of our listeners want to know: did you weep uncontrollably? Were you terrified? Were you scared to death?
Not really.
Did you have your pants on the whole time?
Well,
no.
Well,
you never
probably
had your pants on all the time.
Not the whole time. I mean, you gotta get comfortable. It's a 3-hour movie. Like,
you can recline the seats. They're comfortable. There's food. They'll bring you the food. You gotta take your pants off.
He did not go with Derek. If he would have gone with Derek, there would have been some crying, just not from Ron.
Has he seen it yet?
No.
Oh, he said he was going
He's copping out. He's copping out hardcore. He's trying to evade.
No chops this time.
We won't go into his bad life decisions. This past weekend, it wasn't bad life decisions. His sister got married. We'll be nice and we'll give him that. But
somebody might have made a bad decision. We'll find out in time.
Up until this point, bad life decisions.
Right.
We can talk about it on this show. A little bit. We can't dive too deep on the other show. He gets angry at us.
Sometimes.
Well, next up in the news, we got some somewhat big Ghostbusters 2020 news here. I shouldn't be surprised by this, and none of us should, but up to this point, we hadn't heard one way or the other if any of the original Ghostbusters were going to be back. Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson have both confirmed that they will be back for the new Ghostbusters film. Dan Aykroyd, he did say that, quote-unquote, most of the cast was going to be back, and that he hopes that Bill Murray will be in it. So there's no confirmation yet. That's the big question. It's what's held up this movie for 2 decades, 3 decades, however many decades.
On the Joe Rogan podcast, which Dan Aykroyd was on last week, he told Joe Rogan it was most likely that Bill Murray would be in it, but it wasn't finalized yet.
Right.
And of course, Joe Rogan said, "Come on, Bill, do the movie." And I'm sure with the net that Joe Rogan's podcast, casts. A lot of people are probably making. I'm sure Bill Murray's going to be back.
Yeah, I cannot imagine they would go through with this movie after all this time, after all the delays that have been caused a lot by him, that they wouldn't have him signed on. I just cannot imagine.
I'm sure right now, he ain't got nothing else going on right now.
Yeah, maybe it won't be as big a part, as it was previously, but he'll be back.
I think it will be. I think it would have been a smaller part if Harold Ramis was still alive.
Yeah.
Because, there was a little friction there. But now that he's gone, I think that you can't pull the Peter Venkman died and he's a ghost trick. So you have to have him as
Or maybe that happens at some point in the movie.
Could be, but once again, I would think that that's how we're going to get Egon in the movie at some point.
Yeah.
In a way, because I'm sure that we're going to get him in the movie.
I hope so. 3 from Hell news finally premiered this week. It's in select theaters right now through Wednesday, September 18th, which is tomorrow. Today, for those of you listening. Early reviews are sadly not great.
I'm just going to read you the review title from Bloody Disgusting. By the way, John Squires did the review for Bloody Disgusting, and the title for this review is Rob Zombie succeeds only in tarnishing his best film with aimless follow-up 3 from Hell.
Yeah.
That is just the title of it. If that doesn't tell you where this is going, I don't know what does. I'm not going to go through the whole list. If you guys want to look it up, it is on Bloody Disgusting. They have it on. Bloody Disgusting only gave it 1.5 skulls out of 5.
Yeah, certainly not good. I don't know.
And I haven't heard anything for the reviews that have been out so far. I have not heard much good about it. It sucks because I was hoping that this was going to be better, especially because I was a fan of Devil's Rejects. I was a fan of House of a Thousand Corpses. It's just sometimes you go back to the well one too many times, and you pick the wrong time, and here we are. That's really where I'm at with that.
Yeah, arrowinthehead.com, somebody by the name of Cody Hammond, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, he actually gave it a 7 out of 10. He had his gripes with it and whatnot, but he gave it a much better review, said that it was pretty good.
Well, Mike, it goes both ways, because let's be honest, you've given stuff very low grades.
Yes, like Halloween.
And other people gave it very high grades, and I'm sure you would not change that right now, would you?
We're still down at a 0.5 out of 10.
Give me 1 second. I'm actually looking up on Rotten Tomatoes where we're at with
okay.
From Hell right now.
Yeah, I'd be anxious to hear.
Because obviously I was not prepared because I was not gonna pull it up, but I might as well look. I had to actually go to Rotten Tomatoes because it wasn't coming up on my regular search. Oh, here we go. 3 from Hell. Hold on. 14%. Total count is 7, and it's not open to audience scores yet. So
I think I'm going to wait for that one to hit Shudder or some other streaming service.
On the tomato meter, it is at 14%. It is not going. It's not staying in the theaters long. Of course, it's just limited.
Just 3 days.
And then it will be on VOD. I'm going to wait until it is also on Shudder or such. But yeah, 14%. We'd also like to see the audience score when it comes out. The release date is September 16, 2019, which obviously is already passed. And we're waiting until the masses see it. They won't open it up to fan scores.
Yeah, and next month it'll be on Blu-ray and DVD and whatnot, so it's not going to take long to turn around. But the fact that this is the first one, although the first two, especially the first one, had like art theater type releases and stuff like that, but it ended up getting a wider release from what I remember. The Devil's Rejects had a definitely wide release because I saw that in one of the big theaters up in Syracuse.
Well, that's because South of a Thousand Corpses became this legendary movie.
Right,
pretty much, it's a legendary movie in the world in the horror genre.
Right.
So Devil's Rejects got the treatment because of that. Devil's Rejects was good for what it was.
Right.
It was a horror western.
The fact that has such love in people's hearts and horror fans' hearts. A lot of people love that movie, and they consider that his masterpiece and just a really good horror movie in general. And this was something that was so highly anticipated. I'm surprised that this didn't get a wider release, but it just tells me that this was just something that was a cash grab. They threw it together quick.
I had a feeling, well, if it was a cash grab, they would have wide released it. I have a feeling that he made the movie and he knew it was crap, and that's why we got a limited release. Because think about it, if it was a cash grab, they would have released it everywhere, because who would have cared? Because think about it, you would have gotten a big box office the opening week, maybe $20-30 million, and made a little bit of a nut and call it a day. Now people are going to get time that it's in the theaters in the limited, and as you see, 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. There is a discrepancy. I trust, a lot of times, I'm not saying that the Bible is bloody disgusting, but the reviewers tend to do a very good job with movies, and I tend to fall in line, especially with Squires.
Right.
And so the fact that the title says it all. I mean, when you say that it only succeeds in tarnishing his best film with Amnesia following up 3 from Hell. So.
Right. Well, one of the reasons I wonder if it's not doing quite so well, one of the knocks that a lot of people are giving it is that Sid Haig really doesn't have a part in this movie. He just has more of a cameo in this movie as Captain Spaulding, and he's one of the most beloved characters in that series, if not the most beloved. Actually, Rob Zombie, there was an interview that was released earlier today where he talked about that, and I wonder if maybe that's why he knew the movie wasn't going to be good as he was doing this, but he had to rewrite the entire script several times as it was getting closer and closer and closer to when it was time to film. There was all kinds of different things that Sid Haig was supposed to show up for getting his attire, so to speak, his costume designs done and this and that, and he just kept delaying it. He kept getting a hold of him. I can't make it. Oh, I can't make it. Where's Sid? Oh, I can't make it. And he didn't know what was going on. And come to find out, he's been having a lot of medical issues now. He is I think he's still in the hospital right now going through physical therapy. But this is over the last year. It turns out he had been in the hospital several times, lost something like 100 pounds, looked terrible, wasn't doing well. And Rob Zombie didn't get into what was wrong with him because it was personal, but it turned out that he couldn't come to work for it, so he had to rewrite it, and that's why we got Richard Brake's character in this movie, Foxy, instead. But I guess the movie really suffers from the lack of Captain Spaulding. A lot of people were looking forward to him being in it, as was Rob Zombie.
Here's the thing. You can't blame... it's like blaming a whole game on a quarterback. You can't blame a whole movie on one
unless
actor.
it's Eli Manning.
I just want to throw it out there. Like, one actor doesn't make or break a movie. Because I've seen plenty of bad movies with good acting in it.
Right.
I mean, half of John Goodman's catalog. He's a great actor. He's never acted bad in a movie, but he's been in some pretty stinker movies. So, I mean, it happens. And then there's the opposite of that. You can have an all-star cast and it can still not be
Right.
good. And I mean, the story alone should have been good enough. If you have a story, I don't care if you have to rewrite it, it should still be good enough. If you're going to put it out there, especially if you're going to tie it into a world where people are that rabid of fans that don't have it. And I mean, once again, I hope Sid Haig is getting better. I hope he's recovering. Of course, his health comes first and foremost. But if the whole movie was hinkering on him, I don't know if that was a wise idea to begin with. I mean,
Well, maybe, yeah. But, I mean,
coming out...
I can see where it would suffer without him.
I can see where it would suffer as well, but coming out... Come on, let's be honest. Coming out of Devil's Rejects, I mean, Otis was the kill. It was amazing in that movie. Of course, Bill Moseley did an amazing job there.
Right.
I mean, you still have 2/3 of the mix, and so I don't know. Once again, I know some fans would be thrown off because obviously they're big fans, but at the same time, just give out. If you build it, they will come, man.
Right.
If you write a good story, everybody will like it, and that's my problem. And this is a problem that I have with Rob Zombie, though. Rob Zombie, to the detriment, he has made some pretty good movies, but he's made a lot of stinkers.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of stinkers.
I really did not like 31.
No,
I thought it was terrible.
31 was not very good. Both of the Halloween movies, like, think about it, until he was on Joe Rogan, he refused to talk about those movies for a reason.
Right.
Because he knows everybody's going to lambaste him about how bad they were. And then last but certainly not least, you have... I mean, Lords of Salem was all right.
I love that movie. I think that's a really good movie.
But here's the thing: there's people like you who either love it, or there's people like me.
I can see why people wouldn't like it.
There's people
it was
like me
an art
where I'm
house
like,
movie.
and I mean, I don't mind art house movies, but still, it's like there's people like me where I'm in the middle of it. Like,
right.
It's like I don't think it's amazing, but I don't think it's bad. It's in the middle of the road.
My opinion is that's one of the better horror movies ever made. And when I say that, I mean like top 40, top 30. I originally, when I did a top 31 horror movie list years ago, there's been new things that have come out since and other things I had not seen yet at the time, but I had that at number 31, and I stand by that. I think it would be lower now, and I want to redo that list at some point, but I think that's one of the better horror movies of all time. It was a really good movie. His best movie. That's my opinion. Everybody says The Devil's Rejects is his masterpiece. I disagree. I think The Lords of Salem is.
I don't know. I prefer Devil's Rejects over Lords of Salem.
And I get that. That makes sense. It's a good choice.
On
on
IMDb, it's 325 reviews, and it's a 7.3 out of 10 stars.
Which one is this? 3 from Hell?
3 from Hell.
Yeah.
So fans are...
and I just glanced over a lot. There's a lot of 1 stars, but there's a few high ends. There's a few reviews that look like it was... They gave it like a 6, but talked down about it for the most part. So
sounds like it's going to be the worst one of the
yeah.
of the 3.
So I mean, but then if you go to critics like RogerEbert.com, Scott Tiofa gave it 4 stars. Blood Brothers had 2.5 blood drops. I mean, so it's one of those. It's either you're going
all over the place.
Yeah, so you're either going to like it or you're not.
Right.
So it's one of those movies, unfortunately, that you're going to have to watch and digest yourself, and honestly be your own. It's still content being made, so you can't be upset with that.
Right.
So I mean, whichever way. I mean, it's one of these things. I would say watch it and just rate it yourself. Let us know.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
But once again, that's kind of how Rob Zombie's career's been.
Right.
Like,
I just wanted to let people know what after everything.
Once again, for every movie that I might not like, or Mike might not like, or Ron might not like, there's probably people who like it just at this table alone. I mean, me and
John
Ron...
Wick sucks balls.
Yeah, I know how you feel about that. But me and Ron at this table alone thought Halloween 2018 was middle of the road. But, it wasn't great. It wasn't earth-shattering. Like, some people thought it was earth-shattering. Thought it was the greatest movie ever. Me and Ron were like, it was middle of the road. It was entertaining when it would need to be entertaining. It was whenever it was... But it wasn't, the greatest thing. And Mike hated it. So, I mean, it's just, And that's even on our panel, because the professor loves it. The professor
he gave it a 9 out of 10, I think.
What is it? He thinks it's one of the greatest movies ever made, right?
Something like that. He gave it a 9 out of 10. I think he thought it was better than the original.
Me and Ron were about 5.
Yeah,
we were like 5, 6. We were right in the middle. 5. It was between 5 and 6.
If he did that, if he killed the baby, maybe.
Listen, he didn't even need to kill the baby.
Maybe the baby will be back in Halloween Kills.
Listen, if he would have just stabbed into the crib, the baby could have made noise after. He didn't have to actually kill the baby. But if he would have just stabbed in the crib, if they would have had the balls to do that, I would have marked it, would have gotten a whole another point.
And then the baby cry.
And then you could have the baby cry when he walks away, so you knew he didn't do it. But that moment where you thought he actually stabbed the baby would have been worth it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It would have been great.
I agree 100%.
Because think about it. I was in the theater with Ron, and all you hear is people going, "Oh my God, no, he's not going to do it. He's not going to kill the baby. Oh no, don't let him kill the baby. Let him kill the baby."
But he was his whole.
He was already walking.
He was already walking out the door.
Which that's why I said he should have just like stabbed into the thing, made everybody think he did, and as he exited, just hear the baby start crying. So you know the baby's alive. Like
that baby will be back in the sequels.
He will be back. The baby will return.
The baby's actually the star, from what I understand.
Did you hear that? The baby will return in Halloween Kills.
Can't put a baby in the corner.
We'll come back to that later because there's an announcement in the second segment about that.
Absolutely.
So continue on. What else do we have in the news?
We got moving on some M. Night Shyamalan news. Not a whole lot, but
and that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Avatar 2.
Yeah, Universal's announced there's dates for 2 new M. Night Shyamalan films.
The Last Airbender?
Yeah,
I don't know. They will be released one in February of 2021, the other in February of 2023. No details on the films or their names yet.
And when they get pushed back, what a twist.
The Legend of Korra and
what a twist.
In the City.
AMC has revealed every movie that will be playing during its annual Fear Fest.
Oh, yes. We have a whole list of them.
There's a lot of them on there. Fear Fest will air from Sunday, October 13th through Thursday, October 31st.
Yes, and also you might want to check out our Facebook page, Horizon 607, and our Twitter feed at Horizon 607, because Mike C's got his own list going on. 61 days of horror movies this year?
Yeah, 61 horror movies in 61 days. Started September 1st. It was close enough to Halloween to me. As soon as it turns to September 1st, I don't care that fall doesn't begin for almost another month. That's fall.
So doesn't
that's it.
Department stores.
I just want to pull this out.
Actually, they got Christmas stuff out.
I
see a couple of them that are on your list. There's some of that are on your list as well.
Yeah.
I love how they are switching things over to AMC Premiere subscribers. We'll be able to enjoy the full unedited theatrical versions of some of them.
You know, it's great that they're going to be unedited and whatever, but something about that. It's the only time I don't mind commercials being on. I just want to Fear Fest.
I just want to let you know that Leprechaun, the entire series, is being shown this
even the new one.
Season. Yeah, Origins is on there.
Jeez.
Well, not Returns, because they don't own Returns. So up to Origins, I should say. Sorry, I forgot that we had Returns. But also, you can see the first few Halloween movies, the first 3 on regular AMC. But then you can see 4 through Resurrection.
Oh, yeah.
On pay.
I hope they change when it comes time. They always have a big marathon on for like 3 days leading up to Halloween, and it's just kind of.
Although on the free one, you can see all the Friday the 13th movies. Up to 9. No X though. No X.
Yeah.
No remake either. Just. Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, the remake's in there.
It is. Sorry, they've smuggled it right behind the other one. They did not make this list very well. It looks like all the Final Destination movies. Nope, they're missing one. The 5th one's not on here.
So that was one of the better ones.
Yeah. So check it out. If you want to check that out, you can find that list anywhere. Fear Fest is always fun. If you ain't got nothing going on, just pop it on AMC and go. When I'm watching something that's AMC related, I prefer to watch Shudder.
Yeah.
Shudder has a lot more stuff.
They do.
And it's fun.
But, follow my list. We're posting it on Facebook and on Twitter. It's just fun. If you want to watch the movies with me, tell me what you think.
By the way, as another cheap Shudder plug, some of the movies that Mike lists are on Shudder.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, I saw that you put Idle Hands up there. Did it have anything to do with we talked in length about Idle Hands a couple weeks ago?
Probably subconsciously, but I just had a hankering to watch it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
We did talk about it at length a couple weeks ago.
A week or two ago,
when they were talking about possibly having a sequel finally.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
love it. And then the last thing I just want to mention is this coming Thursday, Shudder, speaking of Shudder, will be releasing the, I don't want to say long awaited, because I don't think it's really been long awaited, but Hell House LLC 3 will be finally premiering.
Well, after Hell House LLC 2 almost killed the franchise.
Let's hope 3 is better.
This is Lake of Fire, right?
Lake of Fire
is the tagline to this.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. I was a fan of the first one. The second one, not so much.
Yeah. Although it did have its creepy moments when they were in the hotel, but there was too much poorly filmed talk.
But I would like to see this one. I mean, it's good enough there. I do want to get. There's one other thing I want to talk about. Me and Ron watched the trailer to this. I know you didn't have time to because you got to the studio right after work because you're putting in that hard work, Mike.
Yeah.
But we watched a trailer for something coming to Shudder in the beginning of 2020. It's now a release date. Other than that, they got the rights to a movie called The Cleansing Hour. It's a demonic possession movie. The trailer is actually really good. I dug it. Basically, the synopsis of the trailer, if you want to go check it out yourselves, is worthwhile. The synopsis of the trailer is that this person is doing webcast exorcisms, and they're all fake. Like, it's obviously set up, employed, but people watch it. It's a huge hit, whatever. And then a real demon shows up. And fun ensues, if you will.
Sure.
It looks actually pretty good. It did get a lot of awards. It was originally a short film, and they've now extended it out. And that short film won a bunch of awards back in 2016. So Shudder keeps impressing me with what they're bringing. And before one last thing, because I have to know from Ron, this is coming up, and I know Ron's a fan of this show. Supernatural, finally last season. The trailer's out.
The trailer is out.
How do you feel about Supernatural last season's trailer? And what are you looking for?
Well, if you finished season 14, people, like I did, like a champ, all the big bads from the past history have come back. So they have to recapture a few, and there's obviously some more. There's some dude walking by. I don't know who that's supposed to be. There's a dude just like, I don't know if he's like supposed to be the new
I know
devil.
exactly who it is. I know exactly who it is. I've never even watched the show. It's Crystal Reed.
Oh, of course it's Crystal Reed.
I hope so.
Well, I don't think Crystal Reed's a dude though.
No. Well, she could be whatever she wants to be.
But we'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be interesting. It's finally going to air. I think the only way you end the show is killing the Winchesters.
The Winchestersons?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. So yeah, it's coming out. Get ready. October 6th, I do believe, is the new season.
Yeah, something like that.
Thursday, October 6th?
Yeah, October is all the shows.
It's all. Listen, I got to be honest with you. I'm losing track of everything in October because we're busy. Just tons of stuff coming in. And then you got all the stuff, which you're going to hear about some of that, but yeah, it's crazy.
All CW's shows are coming out.
I know I mentioned it earlier, but for Mike C's daily list, you can check out those on our social medias. Once again, our social medias. For Facebook, just search up Horror Zone 607. While you're there, go ahead and like it, share it, rate and review it, spread the word, because we'd like to get the Horror Zone 607 brand out there. Also, you can follow us on Twitter at Horror Zone 607. Once again, he posts to both of those. You can make comments about the movies. Give him some suggestions, even if you would like. You can, to join the conversation, hashtag HZ607. And of course, you can visit us at 8122productions.com. We've got articles. You can stream and download all of our shows from there. It's a great little thing to go for. Of course, you can, as you know, because you're hearing us, you can hear us on any podcast provider as well. Got to get those plugs out of the way, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I want to do a couple plugs before I forget to do them, though, and before we go to break. If you guys want to join us, there's a couple parties we got going on, too. If you're in the 607, if you're in the Binghamton, New York area, or you can get here, please come on down. September 27th, we are having the hashtag 607 podcast con season kickoff, because as Ron just noticed, we're busy this con season, and that's going to be at Galaxy Brewing Company. That's that's on Court Street. Is it technically Court Street down there in downtown Binghamton, or is that Main Street still?
No, it's Court Street. Main Street doesn't switch until after the bridge.
Okay, so Court Street in downtown Binghamton. It's just right in the heart of downtown Binghamton. Galaxy Brewing Company, can't miss it. Come on down. We got Floodlands playing, Shout at the Robots, Hearst, and Brian. It's a $5 cover. That money goes all to the bands. It's a great time. The drinks are good there. It's going to be a nice time of music, and you can come out and see what we're involved in and talk to us. And then the next night, we are having our hashtag 607 podcast official con after party, and that's going to be here at Dragon Master Games, 1235 Upper Front Street in Binghamton. 8 p.m. the doors are going to open where you can hang out. We're going to do all that crazy stuff, and at 9 p.m. Shout at the Robots is playing right here at Dragon Master Games. And better yet, it's free. Come hang out with us for free. Listen to a cool band. If you are over 21, it's BYOB. We don't have a liquor license, so we can't serve liquor, but we will have other drinks. And stuff on hand. Drinks and snacks, if you will. But if you would like to drink and you're over 21, feel free to bring something to drink. We just don't have a liquor license because we are a game shop, not a bar.
Right.
I just
want
want
to
to
not a bar.
I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to take the first break. When we come back from this break, and it's fitting that Mike is wearing his Crystal Lake Tours shirt.
Absolutely.
Because we are going to talk some Friday the 13th. I mean, I know we did it last week, but there are some huge things that came out on Friday the 13th that had to do with Blairstown, and also a couple fan films that we would be, if we don't talk about it, it would just be a disservice.
It really would be.
So we are going to talk about those when we come right back on Horror Zone 607. October 4th and 5th in Oneonta, New York, at the Oneonta Foothills Performing Arts Center, we present Sci-Fi Horror Fest 2019. This year, we have celebrity guests from Children of the Corn, Courtney Gaines, from Night of the Creeps, Jill Whitlow, and from Ghost Hunters, the paranormal heartthrob himself, Dustin Pari. Also, we'll have other guests and vendors, and so much more. You can get all your ticket information at sci-fi-horrorfest.com. It is $10 for the weekend, $6 for one day. And we hope to see you in Oneonta on October 4th and 5th for Sci-Fi Horror Fest. All right, welcome back to the Zone, and as I promised before the break, we are going to talk about some Friday the 13th goings-ons, my friends. First of all, I got to say, this is probably the biggest news in Friday the 13th. I know everybody at this table was a fan of Never Hike Alone. Am I wrong? Anybody here did not love it? Vincent DeSanti put together a great movie. Ghost Jason. It was phenomenal. I can't wait to see where we're going. And guess what? We don't have to wait very, very long. Because guess what's going on? It was announced during a music video, by the way. And you should check out this music video if you haven't already. It's great.
Oh, it's amazing.
Go to the Womp, what is it? The Womp and Stomp? Or Wompy Stomp? Or it's Womp Stomp. Just Womp Stomp. Sorry. Womp Stomp YouTube page. That's where you can also watch Never Hike Alone. Completely free because it's a fan film. And go to that fan page. Because there's a video called Disappear. And it's actually a really good song. And Mike was humming along after it was done playing to that song. That's how good
singing like
song
an
is.
angel to it.
I wish I could play it here. Maybe I can get the rights to play it. But at the end of that, we found out that Ghost Jason will be returning in Never Hike in the Snow. That's right. They're doing a prequel. The prequel will be coming out in March of 2020. It's been announced when that's coming out. Right now, they are fundraising on Indiegogo. Their goal is $50,000. They're actually jumping up the list. If you want to go help them out, go ahead. Please check that out. Indiegogo. Look at Never Hike in the Snow. Whatever's left over is going to go towards their next little bit that we're going to talk about. Everybody's excited because this takes place in the winter months,
which is something everybody's wanted for a long time.
Exactly. And it's going to be before what we saw in Never Hike Alone.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. Also coming back for these... Well, actually, I should do the cast after. They've also announced that there will be 3 more fan films in the Never Hike Alone series. And they will be coming out respectively summer 2020, fall 2020, and the winter of 2020/21. So late in the winter of 2020. And they will all be 15 to 30 minutes long. Instead of doing one movie, he broke them down. And they will be it'll be Never Hike Alone 2, Never Hike Again, Never Hike Alone 3, Jason Takes Crystal Lake, and Never Hike Alone, the final hike.
Now, I want to know one thing. In Never Hike Alone 3, Jason Takes Crystal Lake, will that be filmed entirely in Vancouver?
I have no clue.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so, too.
Let's hope it substitutes for Crystal Lake.
They also announced in a poster the alumni cast returning for this. Douglas Tate will be back. He is playing Ghost Jason Voorhees. He also played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason. He was a stunt double on that. He also Vinny Gustafaro. I can't say it. I'm sorry. He played Sheriff Rick Cologne in Jason Lives. He will be back. And of course,
wherever the red dot goes,
that's right.
You bang.
Yes, that's right. It's the same person. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, because we know we saw him at the end of Never Hike Alone, and these are going to finish out the saga. Tom Matthews returns to reprise his role as Tommy Jarvis. Of course, he was also in Jason Lives.
Yes. Or as our good friend Luke and I like to call him, Thom Matthews.
Oh, I should point this out. Douglas Tate played Ghost Jason Voorhees in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So there you go. If you guys didn't know, also the posters look super cool, and I'm hoping that they will release them. Our good friend Jimmy Gazdick has a relationship with Vincent DeSanti. Maybe I can reach out to him or somebody because I would like these posters.
Oh, these are awesome.
The posters are not up on the Indiegogo giveaway. I do think I'm going to sign up for the $20 one and get my Blu-ray copy of Never Hike Alone now.
Yeah,
because that's for $20. You get that. There's a whole bunch of lists. Go check it out. It's good times. I can't wait to see these movies. I was a big fan. You guys hooked for this?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. That's the best Friday the 13th fan film I've seen.
I agree.
It really was the best.
And think about it. There wasn't much of a body count because there wasn't much of a cast.
Yeah.
So that just proves that even though it was, and I loved it. I thought I was very enjoyable. And you know me, I love body counts in my slasher films. But man, you don't need a body count sometimes if you have a good thing going on.
Right.
So, with that being said, the other big news that came out of Blairstown this weekend is that now we have a full-time opened up Friday the 13th Museum in Blairstown.
Yeah.
Before, it was just an exhibit that they used to put out in the Blairstown Museum. Now, right across the street from the Blairstown Museum, they have their own space. As you said, it used to be...
Yeah, they actually did have that space. When I was there the first time, I didn't notice it so much in the morning when we were actually going down the main street where they filmed a lot of the scenes with Annie. Mm-hmm. But I noticed, they had the big one. Mm-hmm. Like the actual thing, and across the street they had what they called the Blairstown Museum Annex, and it would appear that would, based on the addresses, that's got to be it.
That's where the new Friday the 13th Museum is, because
right.
it is still ran,
but it's going to be a full time.
Yes, it's a full time. It is ran by the Blairstown Museum, but it is its own entity, which is cool. So anytime you go to Blairstown, it is only open Fridays and Saturdays, and it only costs $3 to go through the museum. So that's pretty cool, and $3 goes to keeping the museum in business, amongst other things. I heard it was really nice. They had a big grand opening for it this past in Blairstown. There's a ton of stars from the Friday the 13th series were down there. Yeah. And of course, they also premiered a movie we're about to talk about in a minute, Vengeance.
Yes, they did. And just real quickly about the museum, our good friend, once again, Jimmy Gazdick, he's actually built a relationship with the owner of the Blairstown Museum as well. And I'm kind of wondering, one of these times when we make the pilgrimage there, and kind of wander around and whatnot, I'm wondering if we can maybe get a little interview and put her up on the show.
Maybe I would like to.
Sounds like she's a really nice lady.
I would definitely like to talk to her. I think it sounds like a good idea. So now we got to jump into the two fan films. So Friday the 13th brought not one, but two fan films. And I'm going to talk about Vengeance last because it was the longest of them and it was the most hyped of the two. The other one was a movie, Here Comes the Night?
Here Comes the Night.
Here Comes the Night was only 18 minutes long. You can find it on YouTube. Just type in Here Comes the Night. Of course, once again, they can't monetize it because it's a fan film. I did like how this was shot. The opening was the classic Friday the 13th opening as Here Comes the Night comes up and smashes the glass that you didn't even see there. I thought that was cool. And then they also shot it in very grainy 8mm kind of style.
Yeah, and I dug that about it too.
This movie looks to be taking place in the 1980s.
Yep.
The early 1980s. When you first meet it, you have the stoner dumb friend. You have the, I'm assuming, boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
And there's antics that go on. Meanwhile, they're being stalked by what appears to be Jason. And so as it goes on, we see the stoner friend gets it first, and then, the other two end up getting it, And you notice when the boyfriend gets killed that the Jason looks very small.
Yeah.
Jason does not look very big in this. And at first I was very disappointed because I'm like, why would you book Jason so small?
Right.
And even the character makes reference to how small Jason is.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, so they know he's small. Why would you do this? And then what we all assume was a survivor girl. The girlfriend starts her survivor girl lap.
Right.
And then she bumps into Jason. The real Jason. Who now is massive. So now we know that there's a discrepancy somehow. And she dies by the hands of Jason, which I'm calling the real Jason because he was massive and looked like Jason. Then we find out that her friend that they were waiting for, her best friend, is dressed up as Jason with two other guys, and they had been running around and were killing her boyfriend and friend and presumably looking for her to kill her?
Yes.
Which, it never gets explained. That part threw me off. I don't get it. And then Jason shows up.
Yes.
And the two guys get it. And then the girl looks like she's, has a thing for Jason. But Jason doesn't have a thing for her, and she gets it, and that's how we end the short. Overall, I was very.
But don't forget about the survivor girl.
Oh, she was dead.
Yeah, but you didn't explain how.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, he tore her heart right out.
Oh, yeah.
That happened.
It stuck her hand right through.
Yeah, she wasn't a survivor girl at all.
There was no
Jason
survivor
was
girl.
the survivor girl of this
Jason
movie.
was the survivor girl of this movie. It was campy. It was funny. I liked it for those reasons. It wasn't really much because it was 18 minutes long. I do kind of wonder why the whole storyline at the end, I didn't get it.
Yeah, the end didn't make a whole lot of sense, but I love the way it looked. I like the way it was shot. Between the two movies, and I know we were going to talk about Vengeance, but we were talking off air. I don't know. I thought Never Hike Alone was actually the better of the two. Just the way it looked and the story. Or yes, excuse me.
Never Hike Alone was better than both of them.
I didn't mean Never Hike Alone, but yeah. I meant Here Comes the Night was the better of the two.
So let's talk about Vengeance. So Vengeance was the big one. Vengeance had C.J. Graham playing Elias Voorhees. Of course, C.J. Graham was part 6 Jason. Steve Dash makes an appearance in this movie, obviously before his untimely passing. Who else was in this movie, famous-wise? I think that was it from the Friday the 13th series, right? I think those were the only two. But anyways, so they put a lot of thought. The Jason in this movie, I got to be honest, looked very good. I think they did a good job on Jason. Overall, I did like the scene where his mask comes off because it did stay true to the part 6/7 Jason face.
Yeah.
That part was very good.
Yeah,
I do like how they also had him come out of the lake attached to the boulder still, which also goes along with part 6. So those are the parts that tied into part 6, and that was it.
Yeah.
This movie creates its own new mythology. I will say it right up front.
You were asking who else was famous. Tom McLaughlin was in it.
Oh, yeah, Tom McLaughlin was in it. I forgot
director of part 6.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, he was in the opening.
I'm sorry, I forgot he was in it.
Yeah, it just occurred to me,
It was just kind of like one of those things that slipped my mind. I'm sorry. But anyways, this movie, I'm not gonna bear the line. The acting was god-awful.
Yeah, it wasn't
god-awful. The shooting was all right. It was digitally shot, you could tell. The story was It tried to create its own mythos. I like what they were going with a little bit, but I didn't like it completely. I didn't like the whole secondary mythos to it. I did enjoy the Elias Voorhees character. I wish that they would have worked him in a little more because they didn't. He was more of a mystery and wrapped inside of an enigma.
Yeah, especially for a full-length film. Mm-hmm. This wasn't just like a normal fan film. This was a full-length film, so they could have gotten him in more, and it just kind of left me scratching my head as to why.
So the things I liked in this movie, though, as I already mentioned, I did like the detail of Jason's mask and face, because you do see him very bloody at the end take the mask off in front of his dad. That was a cool scene in front of the fire, I will say that. I did like the kills for the most part. I mean, there was, as all movies were the high body count, because this movie has a high body count. With all movies with a high body count, there are some bad ones because you have to have some throwaways.
Right.
However, there was some really, really good ones as well, including, I said off air, even though this was a fan film, it had top 10 Jason scene kills in the history of movie franchise. I don't care. That added. There's a car scene in this movie where it was
reminiscent of part 5 with the two greasers.
But worse because it was even more mean. How do you get more mean-spirited than part 5? Now, mind you, this is a campy, cheesy fan film, and that's how it played out for the most part. They throw sex in wherever they have a plot hole. So there's boobs galore. My 14-year-old son enjoyed that immensely. I just want to throw that out there. His mother's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I didn't realize."
He's got to learn someday.
But she was like, "Whatever. We've already let him start watching horror films, and she knows that that's just a precursor." That's why we waited till he was a little older to let him start, because obviously, that's the one part that I didn't care about, the swearing or the violence. But anyways, moving along there was a little bit too much, even for my liking, because I was like, because it was used as a horrible plot device. It wasn't used as a good one. It was just like, oh, okay, well, why else would they die? Oh, they were having sex, or they were naked. They weren't paying attention. So I didn't like that part, and like I said, the acting was very bad. The body count was cool. Once again, with that high of a body count, some of the skills, but the car scene. I can't say enough about the car scene. Of course, I'm sorry we have talked spoilers about this, but I mean, it's free to the world. So, I mean, guys, go out and watch it, support it. He literally shoves this chick's face into the fan of the engine.
Yeah. Yes.
And there's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And then he walks around where the other girl's leaning out the window and just, like, decapitates her on her own window. Yeah. Just yanks her head off through the window.
Just kind of pushed her down and off it fell.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. By the way, top 10 Jason kills of all time. And in a movie, like I said, it was super campy, so it was super tongue-in-cheek as well. that was one of the more mean-spirited moments I've ever seen in the series, outside of part 5, which is my favorite for being mean-spirited. So that's why I probably like that part.
Yeah.
But then a lot of the other kills were good too. There was a kill where there was like massive amounts of prisoners, and when you first see it, they pan away, and you're like, why? But then you get to see it through a laptop that Steve Dash is watching. How did you like? By the way, I got to throw this out there because I want to know this. I know you weren't as big of a fan of this as everybody, Mike. But how did you feel about the fact that they alluded in this, the mythos, is that the sheriff that Steve Dash was playing in this movie was the counselor who was responsible for Jason drowning because he was banging a married woman.
Yeah, I mean, I liked that they threw that in there.
Yeah.
It kind of made sense with the original story. I just want to say that this was marketed ahead of time for a long time, that this was going to be a direct sequel to Part 6, Jason Lives. And other than some really, really poorly put together, poorly acted, goofy scenes with some tour guides and stuff like that, it really didn't feel at all like Part 6. That was probably my biggest gripe with it, but it had things like that I did like in it.
Well, like I said, the only parts that felt like 6 to me were the fact that at least they had him come out of the lake with the boulder still attached to him. Which makes sense with the ending.
Right, and I did like the little nod with Steve Dash's character where he says, I'm the real Jason, and as everybody knows, he was the, well, I shouldn't say the first Jason, but...
He was the first
adult Jason.
First adult Jason.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, it was, I mean, it was a fan film, so of course I'm grading it as a fan film. I liked it as for what it was. I would not put it above Never Hike Alone. I think that's in its own category by itself.
Absolutely.
And the subsequent sequels are looking amazing. But I liked it. Overall, I would say watch it. It's worthwhile watch.
Right.
The kills are worth it if you like kills. I will say, going in, the plot lines are and the acting is god-awful. But Jason slays. That's for sure. And there's, like I said, I had top 10 kills of all time. That's those car kills.
Right. I would have liked to have seen more of C.J. Graham and understood the Elias character. It just wasn't enough of him, and it was a very confusing ending to me. I didn't understand "you're not my son." I didn't get that. What was going on?
I don't know.
It made no sense to me.
How about Jason kills him, but then he's not dead?
Yeah. Neither of them.
So they're setting up a sequel, I'm assuming?
I'm guessing.
It
just didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense. But I would have liked to have seen more of Elias and I don't know.
And so, I mean, I'd say watch it. You can find it. It was
YouTube.
YouTube. Brown Space was the company that made it, so you can search that or just search for Vengeance.
Right.
It'll come up. It's Friday the 13th Vengeance fan film or just Friday the 13th fan film. You can find it in a lot of ways. It's worthwhile watch. And also watch Here Comes the Night. It was also very good as well. Find them both on YouTube. The big glaring elephant in the room before we kick over to the last segment, though, was there was supposed to be a third Friday the 13th fan film that came out. And I've been trying to find out why it didn't come out, but I can't find out. So maybe somebody, if you know, let us know. Hit us up, because there was supposed to be a movie called Voorhees also coming out on 9/13. And I rewatched the trailer a bunch of times to make sure I wasn't seeing that wrong.
Right,
and
I
it
did too.
was. And it just never came out. And that one intrigued me because it looked like Last House on the Left meets Friday the 13th.
Right.
So I was intrigued by that one. That was one of the ones I really wanted to see.
Yeah, I did too, and I did the same thing. I watched the trailer again because I was like, "Wait a second!" And it was supposed to be out. And
so hopefully it's still coming because it looks intriguing. It looks very much fun, and I like that second trailer. The second trailer is really good, and they use that Smile song. It's crazy. It's a good. I just want to see it. It looks amazing, and that looks like it could be one of the better ones, even.
Right.
And definitely a different concept. Of course, we're still waiting for 13 Fanboy, which wasn't supposed to come out yet.
Right.
Next year, I do believe. So. Well, keep our eyes out. We'll always let you guys know. Right now, fan films are all we got in the Friday the 13th world, and we're plugging right along there. But, Mike, we're going to take a break. What do you got in store for these when we talk some horror in the final segment?
So the last segment, we're in honor of this week with American Horror Story 1984 beginning. We've occasionally gone back and did a list of the biggest or the best or our favorite movies from certain years in the 1980s. The last time we did it, we had gone through 1982. So we've done 1980, 81, and 82. You would think on the list, 1983 would be next, and there were some great movies in 1983. We're not going to talk about those this time. Though. We're going to skip 1983.
Hey, 1983, greatest year ever.
Yeah.
That was the year that gave birth to me.
It was the year of the rich.
It's the year of the rich. I can't believe we're skipping it.
We are, but for a good reason.
Okay,
because
what is
we're
that
going to go
reason?
right to 1984 in honor of American Horror Story 1984.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I like it. So
We'll come back to 83 eventually.
All right. Well, I'm all right.
It was a good year.
It was a good year. It was a great year. So we'll be right back and talking some horror. You're listening to Horror Zone 607. Join us October 18th, 19th, and 20th in Rochester, New York at the Rochester Riverside Hotel for Scaricon. This year we have a ton of great celebrity guests, including Barbara Crampton, Felissa Rose, Ashley Lawrence, David Naughton, the cast of Terrifier, the 40th anniversary of Phantasm, and of course Pinhead himself. Doug Bradley will all be there, all of them plus so much more. There will also be vendors and all such sorts of other great entertainment going on that weekend in Rochester, New York. For all tickets and other information about Scaricon, go to Scaricon.com and we'll see you in Rochester on October 18th, 19th, and 20th.
And welcome back to the Zone. It is time to talk some horror. And before the break, we mentioned American Horror Story 1984 will be premiering on FX this Wednesday at 10 o'clock p.m. And in honor of the 1984 theme and all of this throwback stuff to the 1980s that we've been seeing over the last couple of years, I decided that we're going to go back and we're going to revisit the year 1984 and talk about some of the horror movies that came out that year.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's better than what it sounds.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, 82 was... It had a couple.
82 was a great year. Well, no, 81 was a great
81
year.
was a great
81
year.
was probably the best year in horror ever.
82 had some struggles.
It had cat people.
Exactly. 81 was a great year to talk about. So, I don't know. Where are we at in 1984?
Well, 1984, let's start right out.
By the way, no particular order either.
No particular order. No,
so
none
I don't
at
think
all.
we're doing a top list. It's not like these are the ones that we voted best. There is no particular order.
Right. I mean, there were two. There's two that stand out more than any other.
Are you going to do those at the end?
We'll do those at the end just
Okay,
because they're kind of the main event.
But, okay, that's
But no
fine.
particular
But
order.
there's no particular order. We're not ranking them. Just so
Right.
somebody doesn't go, well, how did you put this in front of? We didn't. We just put them out there.
Right.
Just throwing it out there. I don't want to hear it.
So the first one I'm going to mention, it's something I kind of have like a love-hate relationship with. I guess it depends on the mood that I'm in. Sometimes I watch it and I'm like, wow, this is just a fun, great horror movie from this era. It creeped me out as a kid. And other times I'm like, oh man, this is just so horrible. The acting is bad and it's not what I like. But I'm going to say that I really, really like it because we now have a friend that was in this movie. We have a really good friend that we're going to be seeing again in just a couple of weeks in Oneonta for Sci-Fi Horror Fest. And that would be our good friend Courtney Gaines, who was one of the most terrifying villains in any movie that I can remember. Scared me to death as a kid. He played Malachi in this movie, and that would be Children of the Corn.
Yes, Children of the Corn, legendary movie. I don't have a really love-hater with it. I mean, it didn't age well.
No.
It didn't age well, but at the same
Linda
point,
Hamilton in it though.
But at the same time, it was what it was. It was a good. It was. I mean, for the time, it was an amazingly terrifying movie. As time went on, not so much, but it still deserves to be a legendary movie.
Yeah, and I got to say, I love the way the film looks, the way that they shot the film, the cinematography of it and whatnot. I really, really, really like the way the movie looks, and I love the era that it came out in. I don't know, the cameras today are just too crisp and clear, and there's something about the 70s and 80s, the cameras that they use, that just has like a special something to me. And it wouldn't work. They could film this exact same movie with the exact same people today with today's cameras, and it wouldn't look as good as it did then.
No, I agree with you.
So, Children of the Corn, first one on the list. Next one up, Chud.
Chud.
Yeah, I think that's enough said. It wasn't good.
Well,
I only saw it once.
Wasn't that more? It was more of a dark comedy.
Yeah.
It was so Chud stood for cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
Yep. Yes.
I believe
you're correct.
I pulled it out. If I was off by one word, I'm sorry, but I do believe that it was the entire thing. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it wasn't great. I'd put Fido above it.
A bizarre series of sudden disappearances on the streets of New York City seems to point towards something unsavory living in the sewers.
Yeah. Well, it grossed $4.7 million in 1984, so that's not bad. It was also followed by the 1989 classic Chud 2, Bud the Chud. The poster for this, I'm looking at this right now. It looks like a combination of the Thriller video from Michael Jackson and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
jeez.
I think maybe E.T. is coming out of the sewers. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm scared.
5.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Hey, listen, there's fans of Chud. By the way, the Chud video cassette made its way in Jordan Peele's Us. It was on the side of the TV. That was one of the little Easter eggs, if you saw that. Because think about it, it had to do with underground dwellers.
Yeah, you're absolutely
There you
right.
go. So he's kind of like an homage to Chud.
Next up is a movie that a lot of people love. I am not a fan of it. Our good friend Luke loves this movie. You guys, I'd like to get your take on it. Before I announce the name of the movie, I'm just going to start by saying the one word that the killer says throughout this movie: punish. Punish.
Oh, no.
And he was at ScareCon last year, and I didn't get a chance to meet him. But Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yes.
Punish.
Well, at least it's not as bad as the remake.
What, Silent Night?
Yes.
I love that movie.
You love that movie?
Mean-spirited and evil. I
Normally,
really
listen,
like that
I
movie.
normally love mean-spirited movies, but for some reason, I don't know. I guess it's because I'm not a fan of the original piece. I know it wasn't too much like the original piece.
It was nothing like it, really, other than there was a Santa Claus.
Until the punish part at the end, out of nowhere. Remember that in the remake? I don't know. Maybe that's why I don't like it.
Yeah,
Honestly,
maybe.
Probably is because as soon as I heard punish at the end, I went, son of a bitch. It is
Sigh.
this movie. It is this movie. But last year they were playing this at ScareCon too.
Did they play it?
Yeah, they played this at ScareCon before Children of Corn.
Yeah, the killer was there.
I could hear the movie when I was doing other things at ScareCon. Once again, I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of about it. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be as comedic as it was. I'm not sure if you were supposed to take it as funny as I take it. I look at it as a dark. When you look at it as a dark comedy, you're like, not too bad. Now, 2 is pretty much a shot-for-shot reshot. The first half of 2 is a shot-for-shot reshot of the first one, and then they add in, of course, the famous
Garbage Day.
Garbage Day line. So at least they knew where their place was. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a fan. Doesn't surprise me that Luke loves this movie though.
No, it's one of his favorites.
By the way, I want to throw it out there because nobody has taken us up on this offer. If you would like Luke to review a bad movie, he has said that he will review any bad movie you want. Just write it in. HorrorZone607 on Facebook.
Like maybe Chud.
At HorrorZone607 on Twitter. Write it in.
Maybe
Write
he'll
it
do
into
Chud
us.
the Bud.
Yeah, maybe.
Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
I'm about to write one in just to make him watch something bad.
Sure. Do it. All right, next on my list is actually a very underrated movie. I really, really dig this movie, and they're actually going to be remaking it coming up pretty soon, and that would be Night of the Comet.
I actually dig Night of the Comet.
Such a fun movie. It's a comedy, too.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like Valley Girls that end up somehow being like some of the last survivors on Earth. It's a little confusing because some of these people are like almost like zombie type.
It's a zombie / alien infection kind of. It's like
/ apocalypse.
Yeah, it's kind of like. I don't want to. It's kind of like it's hard to explain because I would like to say like the weird part about it is I would say like it's like the Blob / Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Actually, the best way to put it because I was trying to stay in that time frame. Slither. It's kind of like Slither in a way. Nothing
like it,
graphic.
but at the same time.
Yes. Like if you're describing it to somebody who's never seen it, imagine a funny, fun version of Slither. Not like the
Slither was funny and fun though.
It was, but
that's a great movie.
But they went into the Thing category too much too.
Yeah.
But think about straight funny and fun. That's Night of the Comet.
A comet wipes out most of life on Earth, leaving 2 Valley Girls fighting against cannibal zombies and a sinister group of scientists.
Yeah,
There you
I
go,
forgot
people.
about the scientists. Yeah.
I have no idea. I've never seen it.
That's right. That's
Night
right.
of the Comet. It's not as good as Night of the Creeps. And our good friend Jill Whitlow, who will also be at Sci-Fi Horror Fest, was in Night of the Creeps.
I got to watch Night of the Creeps again. I've only seen it once.
It's
Tom
fun.
Atkins is in that, isn't he?
Yes, and it's funny.
Was
That's really fun.
Did we get to see Tom Atkins behind in that movie? Because that was like his trademark.
I do believe so. It's been a while since I've seen it. I'd have to go back and rewatch. You know who else was in Night of the Creeps? Another ScareCon alumni.
Jason Lively.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll see him at ScareCon.
Second Russ.
I love me some Jason Lively. He's one of the
he's
funnest
cool dude.
people on the planet. So I can't wait to talk
Cool
with him.
dude.
He is. He's fun as hell.
Really, really liked him. All right,
He's actually officially the Scarecon ambassador, by the way.
Is he really?
Yes, that's what his title is. Scarecon ambassador, Jason Lively.
Does he come every year?
He does, and
nice.
I love Jason Lively.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
He called me over. He was bored, and he called me over to talk to him.
I was going to say, if you are going to Scarecon,
famous mistake that he made that name.
Yeah.
if you're going, oh jeez. If you're going to Scarecon, you have to talk to Jason Lively. And he will talk
very
to you.
approachable.
He's a very
Like I
nice man.
We were actually talking to Tiffany, who's in charge of Sci-Fi Horror Fest.
Yeah.
We were talking with her, and I kind of looked back and did a triple take at him and realized who he was, and he's like, "Hey, come on over." So he called me over. There was nobody hanging out by him.
He's great. He's an amazing human being.
He was a really, really cool dude. He was just as cool as Courtney Gaines was.
Oh, yeah.
So,
both of them are very cool. And he'll be at Sci-Fi Horror Fest. I can't wait to hang out with him some
Yeah.
more. Both of them are very approachable. But yeah, now getting back to Night of the Comet, check it out. If you've never seen Night of the Comet, you should check it out.
Highly recommend it.
I think it's not like your, what's the word I'm looking? It's not like your classic movie, but it is a fun movie.
Yeah.
You won't regret watching it. And
it's kind of on the next tier of movies. There was the big heavy hitters in the 80s, and then there was the next tier.
Yeah.
I'd put it at that level. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, I agree.
A lot of fun. In fact, I think I'm going to watch that in the next couple of days, and it's going to become one of my movies for my 61 horror.
It should be, and people should watch it, especially because you're plugging it.
It's a 6.4 out of 10. I mean, there's a lot of love for it for the most part.
I don't know that I want to see a remake to it.
No.
The first is so much fun. I don't know that I need to see a remake, but we'll see. Maybe it'll get more. Maybe it'll get a bigger audience than the first did.
Although, you could do it now. I was thinking about it. Well, you can't do it because Valley Girls. But could it be? You could make it funny. Millennials.
Yeah.
Millennials just staring on their phones, getting chomped on by zombies.
I'd also say it kind of reminded me. Movies that reminded me. It reminded me a little bit of Chopping Mall. In fact, it had one of the same characters, or not characters, but one of the same actresses was in it. So one of the two Valley Girls, which I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Mm-hmm. She was in it. So it kind of reminded me. In fact, they filmed both in the same mall. Which was also the same mall that Fast Times at Ridgemont High was filmed in.
Catherine Mary Stewart or Kelly Maroney?
I think it was
Kelly Maroney. So she was fun.
Yeah, Kelly Maroney. There you go.
There you go.
All right, so I said at the beginning that there were two heavy hitters that I wanted to say for last.
Are we already?
I'm a liar. Yeah, because there wasn't a lot of good horror movies in 1984.
So there's three heavy hitters.
There's three heavy hitters.
Oh, okay.
Three of them. I was wrong. I missed one. So next on the list, and I know you guys love this, and we're going to talk about it, and that'd be Gremlins.
Ooh,
not really considered a horror movie by most people, but it is absolutely a horror movie.
It's terrifying, especially when you were a child.
Oh, yeah.
I've said this before. I've said it on this podcast. I've said it on Three Fat Nerds. I've said it wherever I can say it. The difference between us as children and the children of today is that our parents obviously thought it was great to scare the living bejesus out of us because we got Gremlins, we got the witches, we got a ton of stuff.
Witcher in the Woods.
Witcher in the Woods, Night of the Scarecrow, all that stuff. Then it was put on television when we could see it, or was marketed to us like Gremlins. Yeah. They marketed Gremlins to kids because of Gizmo.
Oh yeah,
everybody wanted
That was
Gizmo.
The big toy that year.
And by the way, I want to point out that Gremlins kill people. People die in the Gremlins.
Yeah.
And it also has the most uncomfortable story of all time as a backdrop.
They still live in the house.
They still live in the house where the father, the reason why the girlfriend doesn't like Christmas is because her father was trying to be Santa. Yes, it was. But his father was trying to be Santa Claus and come down the chimney and got stuck and died.
And broke his neck.
And died.
And then they didn't realize until he was burning up a little bit.
Yeah. Until they started a fire because it got cold that night.
Yeah.
And
it smelled bad.
It smelled bad.
Oh.
You can't get that smell out of that house, man. No. They still live in that house.
Well, I love how she spoofs that scene in the second one. She starts talking, and they just kind of okay, let's go. So.
Yeah. But it's of course, the mother in the kitchen, one of the greatest scenes of all time.
Oh, yeah, that was
the Gremlin
terrifying.
battle in the kitchen. She throws one in the blender.
Yeah.
So good. In the food processor.
She puts one in the microwave.
One goes in the microwave, one goes in the food processor, one goes in the blender, one just gets a good old-fashioned stabbed. It's good. It's good.
Little known fact about that lady. I thought she just kind of disappeared after that, and she mainly did, but she was actually not Sydney, she was Tatum's mother in Scream.
Really?
Yeah, Tatum and Dewey's mom.
She made a return for the sequel, if I remember correctly, didn't she?
Scream 2?
No, the sequel for Gremlins 2.
I haven't seen that movie in so long, I can't remember.
I do believe she comes back. Her and the father, I do believe, come back for the sequel.
I know that the neighbors, the old guy, he was there with his wife.
Oh, no, that's what I confused it with. The parents aren't there. It's the neighbors.
Was it Mr. Futterman or something?
Yeah,
him and his wife were there.
Yeah. Of course, if you haven't seen the second one, that's straight comedy.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan.
Not a big fan of the second one. But...
By the way, Hulk Hogan's cameo in that one, great. One of the best parts. The Gremlins eat the film and he just sits up, hey, you put that movie back on, or I'm going to come up there and I'm going to kick. And then he put it back on. It's so good. So good. Anyways, continuing on.
All right, so we got the two biggest heavy hitters. Gremlins was huge, but
Yeah,
the
it
two
was-
biggest ones I say for last.
Gremlins made a ton of money, and Gremlins is part of the reason why there's a PG-13.
Yeah.
Because it was rated it was one of the movies that and Indiana Jones Temple of Doom were both rated PG. They were both so graphic that the MPAA came up with PG-13 based upon them.
Yeah, all that the heart scene there.
Yeah.
They're also voiced by. There's a lot of voice actors in this.
In Gremlins?
In Gremlins.
Oh, yeah.
Howie Mandel was
Gizmo.
You got Frank Welker, who was
yeah,
Stripe,
he was
Mogwai,
Stripe.
Gremlins, but also known as Megatron. Peter
Wasn't
Cullen.
he Fred in the Scooby-Doo series?
Yeah, Fred. Peter Cullen from Mogwais and Gremlins, who is also Optimus Prime people.
Of course, the big Transformer fan at the table would know.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just showing. I'm just showing.
As you wear a Transformers
I
t-shirt.
am. I like Transformers. But I'm not all in like the guy who has Autobots as his license plate.
Yeah, but that was the first time he came over to my house. Is he goes, yeah, I wear the shirt, so you know I know some Transformers.
Yes.
And that's how that conversation started, and that's no lie.
And that's where it began.
I am wearing a Devastator shirt.
Yes.
I love this shirt, although it has a hole in the armpit now.
It looks like you've had it since 1987.
No, actually, I got this in a nerd block.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it does. They did make it look nice, and it's worn because I've had this for a long time.
Yeah, it's a little faded. It's
I
got
like
character.
It. I like it. It's gotten better with age because it looks like it's old.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
All right, so next up on the list, one of the final two that I got for this list, Friday the 13th, the Not So Final Chapter.
Good movie. Great movie,
Yeah.
actually. Tom Savini comes back.
Yes.
Does some amazing makeup
Crispin
effects in this
Glover.
movie. Crispin Glover dance. Not just him in the movie, the dance.
The dance is amazing.
The computer with his friend. Remember, he's like on the
Yeah.
computer. Oh, you're not going to get laid. That's so good.
Corey Feldman?
Corey Feldman's in the movie. It's a great movie. I mean, it had a great cast. It's also a great movie.
That's a really solid horror movie.
It is a solid horror movie from front to back. It's got great atmosphere. There's a lot of stalking in that movie, which does come up missing in a lot of the sequels when he's a zombie. I like the movie quite a bit. It had a great ending. If it would have ended there, it would have been just as good. I mean, I'm not upset because I'm also, as I said last week, my favorite part is part 5. So if it didn't continue on, we wouldn't have gotten part 5 or part 6 or part 7, which were all good. But then again, if it would have ended there, we wouldn't have gotten part 8 or part 9.
Yeah.
So, you got to take the good with the bad.
And it just basically says, after being mortally wounded and taken to the morgue, murderer Jason Voorhees spontaneously revives and embarks on a killing spree as he makes his way back to his home at Camp Crystal Lake.
Camp Crystal Lake. Now, one more thing I want to point out about that, by the way, in the morgue, you got the guy that's full of hormones trying to hook up with the one nurse. A lot of people may not realize this. I didn't for a long time. His name is Axel. The character's name is Axel. He actually played. He was in Seinfeld. He was a recurring character in Seinfeld. He was the rabbi.
Really?
On Seinfeld, yes.
That's a pretty cool.
He was rabbi.
That was a fun fact.
So yeah, a little fun.
Corey
fact.
Feldman in it too.
Yeah, Corey Feldman kills Jason. There you go. Spoiler alert from.
No, I forgot. I just
3
forgot.
years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
The Feld dog. He shaves his head, looks like Jason. Jason stops and he stabs him in his head, and then we get that cool effect where Jason's head is like sliding down the machete. But then he goes to get back up, remember? And then like Tommy Jarvis, played by him, just starts going die, and he's just butchering him.
He doesn't even try to get up. He just sees his finger move.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry.
And that's it.
He's hugging his sister and his fingers, and then start dying. He's just going to town with that machete. They don't show you the aftermath, but I can't imagine it was good.
No. There was a big famous deleted scene, and it's kind of hard to come by, but there was a deleted scene where he actually kills Trish. He kills her in her bathroom or something. So that's kind of something you have to look for. I think it might be on YouTube.
They shot it. Fun fact: they shot it as part of part 4, and it was actually supposed to be part of part 5.
Oh, really?
They shot it at the same time because that was supposed to be the story. The story was that Corey Feldman, Tommy Jarvis, was going to become Jason.
Right.
They were going to take a few years off from the series because then he would have been a teenager. But they were filming that because they obviously, hindsight, they wanted to show that, hey, he actually lost his shit and he became Jason. Meanwhile, that never happened, obviously.
Right.
So that's the reason they shot that scene, was because they were originally going to take, I think it was like 3 or 4 years off for making a Friday the 13th.
It was a creepy scene too.
When he came back, he would have been like 15, 16, and he was going to be in a mental thing, kind of like 5. He was going to be a hospital, and then he was going to take over the mantle of Jason Voorhees because there was no plans for Jason to be a zombie,
supernatural killing,
supernatural the supernatural hockey mask wearing killer.
Yeah.
Right.
There was no.
They were
plans
actually
of
going to
that.
make several movies with somebody else playing Jason.
And of course, then we ended up with
taking up the moniker.
Then, of course, because the movie made so much money, they came back. I do believe what was the following year, or the year after, with Part 5. I think it was the following.
It was the following year.
With Part 5, and of
It
course,
was 1985.
one of my favorites, even though, of course, Roy, and it pissed people off there was Roy. But I say take Roy out of the equation. Just watch that movie. Mean-spirited and great.
Yeah.
I mean, Vic.
It's
Vic,
sleazy.
Vic does a good job in the beginning of that, carving that
Yeah,
fat
he
kid up.
does.
And as a fellow fat guy, I can say that.
Hey, Vic, it sure does look like a lot of fun chopping that wood.
How about you give me a try? Hey,
Yeah.
Vic, I got an extra candy bar. You want it? Well, if that's how he chops it. If that's how you're gonna be Vic, then fine. I'm gonna walk away.
Forget about it. But
Forget
I think
about
you're really out of line.
And he turns around and he gets axed to shit.
Yeah,
And
poor
you don't
Joey.
realize, and the funny part is you don't realize how bad. I mean, you see the initial axe, and then you see him still going. And then you don't see it again until, of course, that dickhead paramedic lifts it up.
Yeah,
and
I
you
know.
see the
He's all in
aftermath.
pieces, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And of course, my only problem with the Roy storyline is you don't have a background that Roy, the paramedic, is the father of that kid. There's no background story to that given. So when it is revealed at the end, you're like, that's just, it just feels like they put it there for no reason.
Right.
I'm just-
I mean, they announced, the cop says who it is. In the end, shows the picture that was in his wallet of Joey. But other
that's
than
the
that,
only, but that's the only time is at the end.
was very confusing.
If they would have built to it earlier in the movie and given you a clue, it
Right.
might have been a little better of a movie.
right?
Because his
They
only
wouldn't
line
have had
in
the
the
same
movie,
shocking
remember,
twist,
the only line in
fact.
the movie is when they find the other paramedic. He kills him.
Yeah.
And then he comes. He's like, "Are you talking to me, Sheriff?" That's the only line he has.
Yeah.
Ugh, so bad.
Yeah. Poor Roy.
Damn, it
Very
was
misunderstood.
It was an M. Night Shyamalan ending. For that show.
It really
I like how
was.
we were starting to talk about 4 and moved into 5.
Yeah.
The only thing.
That's what we do here.
The only thing worse is if we moved into talking about Freddy's Dead.
Right. Well, there it is. There it is. I was waiting
episode.
the whole show,
Every
forgot
episode.
about it, and there it was.
And you almost skated over it and did not realize that I got it in there.
Yeah. Well,
right.
I'm glad you at least brought up Freddy
you.
because the last
you.
movie that we've got from
Thank you. I just
1984,
want to say thank you. Thank you to the Academy.
probably the most iconic movie that came out in 1984 would be the original Nightmare on Elm Street. So
Nightmare
without
on
that, there
Elm
would be no Freddy's Dead.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I could have saved the Freddy's Dead joke, but I think it fell in there better than before. Nightmare on Elm Street, legendary movie, legendary director. Obviously starts off probably one of, if not, I mean, depending upon who you talk to, it's the greatest horror franchise of all time. I'm a huge fan of the franchise overall. I mean, with its flaws, of course, Part 2 is flawed. Don't like it at all. And 6 is, it is what it is. I mean, I joke about it, but it is what it is. It's the only franchise where you could have a remake that falls on its ass, and it's still not the worst movie in the series.
I know.
Just throwing that out there. But it's a great movie. As I gotten older, I've been less scared of it. We talked about this before. I've been less scared of it due to the fact that he doesn't look. He hadn't mastered being Freddy yet. And I mean, obviously, it's the first movie, so you're not going to master it. And there's nothing wrong. Robert Englund does an amazing job in that movie. It's just that there's times in that movie where he looks like an angry midget. Like there's a scene where one of the scenes that used to terrify me as a kid, as you watch it as an adult, when he's chasing Tina in the beginning of the movie, and he's like running, and of course we found out later the reason why he has the shrug is because the glove is so heavy, and they made him instead for kill scenes they make him wear a real glove that was made of metal, is heavy, but he's running and he's slumped, and because Robert Englund's not a very tall man to begin with, he looks so tiny in the camera shot.
Yeah.
And there's just that one shot. Now, mind you, there's the iconic scene where he has his arms all the way across, and all that stuff looks fine. There's just that one shot where you see him and he looks tiny, and you're just like, you're running away from a tiny little guy? Like, it's weird. It's kind of like almost a leprechaun. As I got older, I noticed that more. When I was younger, it terrified me. But now, as I got older, a fan. By the way, iconic scenes after iconic scenes after iconic scenes that we've copied 1.5 million times. I mean, some of the most amazing shots ever, whether it's the blood coming out of the bed, which they did with the flipping room. But they used the flipping room twice because they used the flipping room for the Tina skin the cat scene.
Yeah.
Which she said was really, when I did the panel with her last year, Nightmare on Elm Street, I actually got to sit down with Amanda Wiss last year at ScareCon, and she said that was the worst part of the event. For her for shooting, because she was the only one that was disoriented because everything else was laid down,
right?
And she's up there, so she gets vertigo. She got vertigo really bad because to shoot the scene it took a long time. And she said at one point in juncture, Wes Craven was an amazing human being. One point in juncture, he stuck his head in the window, and there's a famous picture of it. He says, calm down, it will be fine, and we'll get through this, whatever. And she goes, and it didn't make me feel any better because after he left, he's like, oh man, I got to get out of here. It's making me sick. So I mean, it was kind of a nice story to hear from Amanda Wyss, and it's a great movie, legendary. Started, like I said, one of the greatest franchises of all time, and I don't know. How do you guys feel about the Nightmare on Elm Streets?
I love the original. Love Part 3. Love New Nightmare. I like parts of Part 4.
4 and 5 are kind of together. There's parts that are good. If you would have taken the best parts of 4 and 5 and put them together, you'd have a good movie. But the plot line in both of those movies sucks to begin with.
Right.
But there is some cool scenes in both of them. I agree. I mean, 4 they ran out of money, so we have Kung Fu Karate Freddy.
Yeah, things happen.
Yeah, things happen. They ran out of money. It's a true story too. They ran out of money.
Yeah.
So there's an invisible kung fu fight with Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, it happens. Whatever gets them through it.
You know,
it wasn't horrible. It was just funny. It's funny.
Now it's funny because we know what happened. At the time, I mean, if I didn't know the story behind it, I might not look at it finally. So I think when I first watched it back before the internet and I knew all the story, and before the Freddy Krueger documentary was out, Never Sleep Again, and that's also talked about it. But I mean, also, before the internet, folks, when I watched it originally, I don't think I thought it was so funny. I was like, this is horrible. This is just bad. But when you know the story, you're like, I get it now.
Right.
It makes sense when you're like, oh, they ran out of money. Okay. Makes more sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they spent
there's parts of 4 that I like.
They spent all their money on that bike effect.
Yeah. I mean, after 3, though, like, you have such a good sequel, and then that's what you can follow it up with. Yeah.
Well, the problem is they didn't get back Patricia Arquette.
Yeah.
So it just was glaring. You knew it wasn't her.
Heather Langenkamp's character was gone.
Heather Langenkamp was dead. At that point, I think it really fell on its ass until New Nightmare. New Nightmare being a new telling, because it's not Freddy. Technically, it's not. It is a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Let's be honest, but it's not Freddy Krueger.
Right.
Because he's not. He's a demon.
Right.
That was the point.
It's a terrifying movie.
It's a great movie though.
Yeah, that one is really, really good. I don't know what's a better sequel, that or 3.
I think
both very good sequels.
I think 3 is the better because it's an actual sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, yeah,
and I think it stands on its own and it's
more
proud.
fun.
New Nightmare I like a lot because it's its own entity.
New Nightmare is a good horror movie. Part 3 is a fun sequel.
Yes. Part 3 is the belle of the ball in my opinion. I've always said it's my favorite in the series, due to the fact that it's got an iconic movie, it's got an iconic storyline, it's got some of the most iconic scenes ever. I mean, still in the AMA top 50 quotes of all time is "Welcome to Primetime, Bitch."
Yeah.
By the way, the only improvised line by Robert Englund in any of the Nightmare movies. Did you know that? Out of all the Nightmare movies, Wes Craven is a stickler, I guess. He doesn't like it when people improvise. And Robert Englund's a professional who doesn't normally improvise. The only time he improvised was that line. Because the original line where he picks up, oh, you've made it, you've been in the big time now, that was supposed to be it, and he was supposed to slam your thing. But I guess he felt that he should add a tagline on, so that's why he's like, welcome to Primetime, bitch. And his jabs are in. Great addition. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. Then again, the bar got set low by part 2.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that when we talk about that year too. Yeah. Eventually. So
we'll get there.
There it is. Is that it? That's 1984.
That's 1984.
Well, I feel like I've journeyed through time, and now we're back here in good old 2019. We're setting up for a lot of big things going on. If you want to see what we're a part of, it's easy. Just go ahead, hit us up on Facebook, Horror Zone 607. We're also on Twitter, Horror Zone 607, to join the conversation, because we want to talk to you guys. Hashtag HZ607, and you can, everything we talked about in this episode, anything you would like us to talk about, send us movies or, things to watch. We got a lot of things coming up. Some things that I wanted to do just kind of got put on the back burner. We've talked about them. Don't worry, those things are coming. We're going to be doing some of those special episodes where we get together and we watch some movies and do some reviews. Unfortunately, we are in high demand this con season.
Yeah, we are.
As you heard me talk about it before, if you're in the Binghamton, New York area, September 27th, con season kickoff, hashtag 607 podcast presents that. We got Floodlands, Shout at the Robots, Hearst, and Brian. They're going to be at Galaxy Brewing Pub in downtown Binghamton, New York. Come on down, $5. Those are great bands. Support that and come hang out with us. We'll all be there. We'll all be there with some sort of merchandise that we wear on. And I very soon, I have just procured getting all the stuff for the internets. Pretty soon you can have your own Horror Zone 607, 3 Fat Nerds, 8122 Productions gear. It's coming very soon, by the way. It just took me a little longer because I had to get all the ducks in a row in the interwebs. You'll see us there. Also, Robercon, September 28th at noon you can, well, first of all, we should say at 11 a.m., you can see our friends at the ODPH. They're doing an MCU panel at RoberCon, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then after that, we take the room as the three fat nerds plus Horror Zone 607's Mike C. right here in this room.
I'm just happy to be nominated.
That's right. We will be doing a live podcast.
Yes.
It will be three fat nerd style, so you get to join in and have some fun.
Yeah.
I'll throw some horror stuff in there just for you.
I appreciate that, Clark.
And then later that night, on the 28th, we are having our official con after party here at Dragon Master Games, 1235 Upper Front Street, featuring Shout the Robots, completely free. Come and hang out with us then, if you're in the area. And also on the 29th, right? 29th was Sunday. Me, you, and Ken M from the ODPH will all be part of a podcast panel.
Yes.
Workshop, if you will. And then, of course, you heard it earlier in the show. We had the little commercial for October 4th and 5th, Oneon in New York, Oneon Foothills Performing Arts Center. We will be part of Sci-Fi Horror Fest. We are actually the sponsors of Media Alley for that. We're going to be there. You heard all about it. Courtney Gaines, Jill Whitlow, Dustin Pari, and et cetera, will be there. Tickets, go to sci-fi-horrorfest.com. Of course, like them on Facebook, Sci-Fi Horror Fest. Tickets are only $10 for the weekend. It's going to be a good time. And come out and have some fun with us. And we can't talk about the party house we're having.
Yeah.
You can't talk about that.
No, it's a cabin in the woods.
It is a cabin in the woods. We're not going to tell you where that is, though.
No.
It's a private party.
It is a private party.
Then, of course, 2 weeks from then, October 18th, 19th, 20th, it is also the birthday weekend of one young Derek from Three Fat Nerds. But myself, Derek, Mike C., my wife, we're all going to make the trek up to Scaricon as we're a part of Scaricon 2019 in Rochester, New York at the Rochester Riverside Hotel. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of people there, as you heard. Like I said, you heard that earlier in the episode. Doug Bradley's there, some Pinhead's there, so many more.
I can't wait to meet
Barbara
Pinhead.
Crampton, tons of stuff going on there. We're going to be part of that all weekend. Check us out. It's going to be fun times. And of course, before I forget, if you want to find out about all those events, I got a new page at 8122productions.com. It's called Events and News, and all of those are there. It's called #607 Podcast Fall Con Season.
Nice.
And it's all listed there. And of course, you can go and find all the links to get your ticket information. Of course, Scaricon is scaricon.com for tickets.
Yes.
So you guys heard the stuff earlier. We hope to see you at these events. Once again, thank you guys for listening, because without you guys, we wouldn't be doing all these cool things. And there's more events to come. Trust me, we're booking stuff throughout the year. Hopefully not as on top of it is this upcoming month.
Right.
Because next weekend, man, starts a whole, like this. We have one weekend off. I'm going to relax this upcoming weekend, and then it's like 2 weekends in a row of balls to the wall conventions.
Yeah, I have no weekends up because I'm going to whatchamacallit, down in Scranton.
Reaper's Revenge.
I can never remember the name of it. I'm going to be there.
Are you going to do that in October?
We're doing that October, I want to say 12th.
So basically, so this is our last weekend off.
Yeah.
Then we have RoberCon. Then the week after, we have Sci-Fi Horror Fest. Then the week after, you're saying you're going to Reaper's Revenge.
Yeah.
And then we're going to
Scaricon. Yeah.
Damn. It's a busy life.
And then I think I have a party to go to the following weekend. So
the sad part about that is the weekend that you're going to Reaper's Revenge, I've been debating whether or not I want to go down to Fright Fest at Six Flags. I'm a member down there, so I'm like,
I think you should.
I want to go, but also I'm
you only live once, buddy.
Dude, I'm already spending a lot of time in hotels and Airbnbs.
What's one more?
Oh, jeez.
What's one more?
You only live once.
You
I know, but it's a lot of time out of town.
Or if you're Freddy Krueger.
I'm old. I need to rest, man.
Yeah. Just wait till you're my age.
I was going to say, I'm not as old as you gentlemen, but still.
Just run a jackhammer for 2 days straight and see how you feel.
There you go.
Clean cars all day.
Yeah.
People are dirty.
He's the genetic jackhammer.
Anyways, but that's all I got this week.
All right. Well, we want to thank you listeners for tuning in each and every week to our fun little podcast here. We hope you'll tune in again next week. I want to thank Ron for being back in the studio this week. It's been a pleasure having you back after 7.5 long years. And, of course, Rich, thanks for everything you do. And we'll be back at it here next week. Thanks for listening. See ya.